Two years ago, when I gave the talk on ChatGPT, I was, and this isn't exaggeration. When ChatGPT 4 came out, I was losing sleep that I was going to lose my job, and I'm going to have to go into trades. And I was just telling everyone that then I saw the Opus demos of the Opus robots, and I was like, I can't even go into trades. I'm going to lose my job. I think part of this talk too is kind of to reassure you, if you're a senior plus developer, any junior developers here, I think if you've gotten a job as a junior developer, you're safe. But to reassure you that I think what I understand of the market, of the LLMs, etc., even agentic tools, you're kind of safe. 5-10 years minimum, maybe 10. And yeah, then I work for a consulting company called Ravel. Been coding Java since 1.3. Sorry, 1.5 was generic, so the version before it. I was actually I spent a lot of time in Calgary too, where Java's from. I forgot who created Java, but I know he's from Calgary. I wanted to do a quick overview because it kind of ties into my talk from the last 2 years ago. I kind of see an era of coding. Number one, there was the pre-internet era. Anyone here from the pre-internet era? Oh my gosh. So this is pre-internet. You would go to the library, you'd have a book, and you'd read the book, and there was no Stack Overflow, and there was no Google. And that's the way it worked. There's only, if you're really old now, but...
the book I wanted was always stolen.
Yep.
I couldn't even get it.
Things kind of moved a lot slower. I mean, we had Java versions every 5 years or something. Then there was the internet era with Google and Stack Overflow. If you're stuck, you Google it, you go to Stack Overflow. When was the last time anyone logged into Stack Overflow?
I looked at it maybe a month ago.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Or replied to a question. I don't think I've done it in 10 years.
Oh, well.
Once ever?
I had a really good status, 3,000 points. And then I think this era was kind of shorter. I think there was a little bit of overlap with the IntelliJ/autocomplete, but I kind of want to focus on the machine learning type of autocomplete, which we had with Copilot. That was a huge boost. And then 2 years ago, when I gave a talk here, I was like, man, you guys, or 3 years ago, I think I gave 2 talks. 3 years ago, it was man, this ChatGPT LLMs are the next big thing. You have to get on it. It's such a huge velocity boost, or just like Google and Stack Overflow. And now I think we're at the Agentic era, and I think it's the same as any other progression. If you're still stuck on anything above, I would hope you're not on the pre-internet era of coding, but even if you're, even for me, it took me a while to really get into Claude Code and Codex, but then once I got to it, it was oh wow, I can't go back. But just as a show of hands, does anyone still not use Claude Code or Codex?
Well, that's cursor columns?
Cursor? I guess it's Claude under the hood, right? Or Opus. This is actually it's interesting because last time I gave this talk, not a lot of people are using ChatGPT, but this time I'm actually surprised. Okay. What is an agent? So you guys know this. I feel like there's a lot of, certainly when I got into agents, it was there's this feeling of it's a special thing. It's such a big giant step up over, it's this mystical, magical thing, much better than ChatGPT. It's not. It's just a loop over LLMs, over Opus. I think the main two models now that we use is 4.6 Opus and Codex 5.2, but it's just a loop. And I think that's the one thing I wanted to hammer in, where I think a lot of people get confused, especially mainstream people or normies, where it's some magical thing. It's just like behind the scenes. It's a loop over an LLM. It moves around the context memory, and it could call stuff. The way I've summarized it is a regular AI chat message is actually just one call. An agentic thing is just a loop and just keeps calling it. Am I done yet? Am I done yet? Here's the updated context. Oh, I have access to call bash, or I'm going to call Gradle, whatever, and that's it. Can call stuff. And I think for me, it's been the grounded memory where when I was working out at ChatGPT, does everyone here kind of like understand the rolling context window? Or like you're chatting to it and it starts forgetting things. I know it's gotten a lot better behind the hood where I used to love how it wouldn't compress things where you would start a conversation about sending an email and you'd say my name is Victor at the top and then you keep iterating over it until at the end it would say like, here's your email, and at the bottom it would say insert your name here. And every so often I would like see emails from people saying insert your name here. But I think it's gotten better. But I think it's the grounded memory where you could you point it to a directory and it could just check the latest information. And I do love like vibe coding. I used to kind of step back from coding a little bit as like more senior principal level. But vibe coding has like kind of made things fun again. I could like really hack things together pretty quickly. And then I put the star in with LLMs. I guess if you do a lot of vibe coding, it has all the quirks of LLMs, hallucinations, just going down different tangents, all of them. The tool landscape, I think this is what's changed a lot. So I think a lot of people kind of started off with Claude Code CLI. I've switched to the UI, which I'll demo. I think, let's see if I have it here. Claude. Is everyone using the CLI or does anyone use the UI? I've switched to the UIs for both. I just kind of find them more accessible. And there was a product called Cowork, which I was excited about, that they released a month ago, and it was only for like the $200 plan. A week ago, it became available for the $20 plan. So that it's kind of geared towards non-coding agentic stuff, which is super useful. And then since I put the abstract in for this talk, Codex app came out. Has anyone here worked with Codex? Nice, one person, awesome. It's OpenAI's equivalent. It has some pluses and minuses, and then I guess for the agentic stuff, if you use ChatGPT, anything to do with like the deep research on the agentic button is the same. Do you want to use AWS Kiro? No, it's the AWS one. There's a whole ton. I do some coding in Xcode, and I did find it interesting that I think this week in beta you could finally in 26.4 you could get agentic coding, but it's all tied into like most of these are Opus and Codex under the hood, so it's always kind of the same models. Like I think it's cursor, you get to select things, almost everything. I can't think of anything else for like serious agentic coding that's different than those two. So there's really two
Copilot plugin and
but it's OpenAI.
Code is,
be under the,
it is, well, you can choose Claude or
yeah.
yeah.
A lot of them you could choose. Kiro you could choose. I like Kiro because sometimes it's easier, like in heavily restricted companies, like it's easier to just go through AWS, even though it's all the same models under the hood. Or anyone here use Copilot? Nice. That one's OpenAI under the hood. I can't stand it. I feel like Microsoft has neutered OpenAI. The tool, I can't tell a huge difference between 4.6 and Codex 5.2. There was a talk on Lex Freeman, I think that was the one you were talking about, Anyone know Lex Friedman? I think he's been on Joe Rogan. He does a lot of podcasts. He did a podcast with the Open Cloud guy. I forgot his name a week ago. And he talked about how his experience has been a little bit more towards Codex 5.2. It's a little bit more anonymous. It deals with context memory a little bit better. It can remember more, which kind of aligns with my views, which is why I've kind of pivoted this demo to the Codex app. But yeah. Oh, and the other nice thing, I was expecting more of a crowd because I remember last time people were like, oh, I haven't even used ChatGPT and paid for it. Besides this experience that I've seen with the context memory being a little bit better, for people that aren't really using agentic coding day to day, I think Codex is easier to get into because the app I find is a little bit nicer. And two, you don't need to have a paid subscription to use Codex agentic coding, whereas last time I checked with Claude, you need at least the $20 plan. The big thing that's kind of changed with me in the last couple of months, I've started just with coding. But then I started especially once I got like the app, I started using Codex or even Claude, the Claude app, and I had random work. I started using it for a lot of like non-coding projects, which I did want to point out, which I feel like this is the big opportunity for people where everyone talks about agentic coding, but there's been so many little things that I found where I was like, man, I can't use regular ChatGPT or Gemini or Anthropic. Like the regular chat window just sucks. Like I need the ability where I could just give it a task and it could do anything and it's not coding. So I think there's a huge opportunity there. This one just happened to me 2 weeks ago, which I thought was a really good example, where I have like a network attached storage and I just have like a whole bunch of just randomly organized files, random movies, misnamed movies, whatever. And you could go out and like tell your Codex or Claude, whatever, give it access to a folder, and it could do things. It's not just about coding. So this is where I kind of want to like encourage people to stop thinking about agentic as just coding. It's not, and I think Claude Code, like I'm glad they added co-work because now it makes it sound like it's not just code. But then when I was playing around with Cowork, I was like, I don't get it. It's just Claude Code, but rebranded. I've seen people do massive prompts for like personal tracking and like scheduling, where you just give it access to directory, whether or not it's Notion or just MD files. You give it like a bio view, and it could start scheduling stuff for you, or if you give it access to Gmail, it's a lot more than coding. The writing a book is amazing, where I find like the regular chats kind of fall apart, especially the default. I find like regular OpenAI chat, like number one, you have like the context window isn't as big as an API, where I think you could only do like 5 pages at a time. And they usually add an extra layer of like safety of like, oh, I can't talk about this. I'm not going to let you know about this. I do find with the agentic tools, it's a lot better, but it could also, for something like writing a book, you could break it up into steps. Here are my notes, start breaking down into chapters. Here's my style. Like multi-step, pretty much anything multi-step for an LLM. This stuff's amazing. It's a huge time saver. Getting started. Has anyone here like never used Claude Code? Oh, right.
I do.
Nice. Oh, you do or you haven't?
I have.
Oh, cool. I was expecting, I just remember last time I was here, like half the crowd didn't use ChatGPT. I gotta give this crowd, it's, the barrier to entry is so easy, especially now with the UI tools, whether or not it's Codex or Claude. Like it's literally the barrier to entry. All you have to do to get started. and I'm going to speak a little bit more from Codex for now, but like, you give it a directory, you give it a concrete task, just like you would with an LLM. You could ask it for a plan, whether or not it's implicit or explicit, which is like, I do find like personal tip, but I guess if everyone's used it, where if I have a really complicated thing, I may ask Claude or OpenAI to like, all right, how are you going to do this before you do it so it doesn't burn through my tokens? And then you validate the results and you just keep doing it. Like it's, and then optionally add like an agent, MD or Claude. I know with Claude it's the Claude MD file. ChatGPT uses agents MD. From my understanding is everyone's going towards agents like Gemini, like Cursor. I don't know. My understanding is the entire industry is going towards like agents as like a standard file. But I guess it's super easy to either add like a symlink or something and move things around. And yes, because I've gotten these questions, I don't know if you guys do like more than one. Does everyone here use like more than one agents file, or just a root one? Or do you guys like understand like nesting them, or like you could reference other agents files, or you could have a global one or a local one? Oh, this is an advanced crowd here.
Skills?
Pardon me?
Claude skills?
Cloud Scales. You can use the Codex equivalent. It's not one-to-one. They have automations and they have, man, I forgot the name. But yeah, this is like a quick example. Like this is how, for non-coding, I did want to include one example, was you just connect it to a directory. By default, it's read-only access, and you just tell it what to do, and it'll go out. And you could say, I wouldn't feel as safe. I mean, I guess if you're not using Git, now that I've started using agentic coding against my system in a read-write capacity, I've made sure to turn on Apple Time Machine and to do backups. Like every hour, it's doing backups on my machine to my NAS. I will, if you're not doing changes against like a version GitHub history, like if you're like, oh man, like clean up my my folder structure, maybe delete the duplicates, I would recommend, like personal tip I've learned from experience, like do backups. If you're on a Mac, the Time Machine's pretty awesome, or I just have it like doing backups like every 15 minutes. And because I think that's what happened with the AWS outage a week ago, where it was like an agentic, I think it was Kiro. I don't know the details we were talking about it, but like that's what took down, there was some change, some destructive change that like took down AWS East. But yeah, do backups, that'd be the first tip. There's a great book, and I'll reference it at the end, but like the analogy for like 101 people, I feel like with vibe coding, when I originally got into it, I was like, oh, it's going to take away my job, and like, it's not just, I never do like single shot, like here's my thing, just create my app. I think maybe there's some cool demos online, but I don't think that ever works. But the analogy that I got from this vibe coding book by Steve Yeagy and Gene Kim was like, just you kind of want to think of yourself as like the chef, and then like you're delegating out the work. So here's what I want to do, here are the smaller dishes, like you're reviewing everything every single time. You're not one-shotting things. Like I've seen so much AI code slop. It's not going to take away your job. Sample Java prompt. I mean, like for anyone that's never coded, I think even for anyone that's never used Claude Code or Codex, even just starting up a new project from scratch, like I remember something like this, even with like Gradle in it and Gradle wrapper in it, and then Java Spring Boot in it, like this, something like this used to take a long time, but now, I mean, with let's cut and paste this. Oh, so I did also want to show, I got the Claude UI app going on. but there's also the Codex app. You point it to a directory. My internet's a little bit slow here, but let's just see if it works. So create a Java project. Oops. Use the latest Java on my machine. Use Grader for the build. Spock for testing because it's awesome. Now, no one uses Maven, right? Like, yeah. Maven. Do a git in it, like all this, like multiple things. I don't know, is there anything else I could show? I mean, you could select the model. I kind of default to the OpenAI added Spark. I don't know why I don't see it right now, which is the faster one. I play around. I think through experience, I kind of know when to like do the more expensive models, but usually it's default. What else is different? Work tree. When I kick off multiple agents, you could also actually I haven't done a git commit yet, so I can't do that. And now, like, I'll just go out, and even though this might take 10 or 20 or 30 LLM calls, I'll figure out what it needs to call. As long as my internet works, and I'll do it. So maybe we'll come back to it. So that's UI. Let's check in on that a little bit later. Anyone use Spock for testing? It's pretty awesome. Hi, it makes the tests. Nobody uses Selenium, right?
We use Selenium.
Why don't you just use Spock?
Spock has
least-
browser
at least you
automation
get-
built in?
What?
Spock has browser automation built in? I thought it was more for unit testing.
I think it's just. Oh, sorry, for BDD tests, because they just read
Oh, you mean
human.
like Cucumber?
Oh, sorry, I was thinking Cucumber, not Selenium. My mistake. I like Selenium. Agents and MD. I do find so much of like vibe coding. I find is like just experience. With by default, I guess like the Agents MD or Claude MD, you put one in the root, and it's kind of your custom instructions, like it would be in ChatGPT. You can't let it get too big. You kind of want to be specific, not verbose. But as your project grows, there's now numerous strategies that I've seen done where maybe you could add like additional agents or Claude MDs in branch directories, where it's like this only applies to this directory. I know some people do global. I never use global, where you put it in your hidden directory. Define scope, and just iterate. I think a lot of, whenever I make updates to my agents files, I usually get stuck on a problem, and I ask the AI of like, all right, update my agents file. Where do I put it? This is my issue, and go fix it. Actually, let's see if my thing is done. It's a little bit slower because I think the Wi-Fi. So it started creating all my files, my build.gradle, my hello controller, and it's checking off things one at a time. It's still going. All right. Quick example of agents, MD files. I wouldn't stuff it with too many things. I feel like a lot of it kind of grows. Tell it what you want it to do at the end of, like to verify the build, like do a build or do a test, etc. Yeah, obviously use Gradle instead of Maven. Constructor. Random tips that I've kind of seen. I feel like too many people, just like with ChatGPT, they kind of held off on like, oh man, I got to be ready. I'm like, I'm not gonna, like so much of agentic coding, I felt like you just have to start playing around with it. And it's one of the only tools where you can, like, if you're stuck and if you don't know what to do, you could ask the tool. Lots of trial and error. Work trees. So when I have, if I'm working out of a directory, you can spawn multiple processes, but they're not clashing off the same code base. Claude connectors, so there's some differences between Claude. I could go back and forth. I think the differences aren't that huge, and like if you prefer Claude, stick to it. But some of the things that I do prefer with Claude, because these came in super helpful these weekend, and I was like, man, Codex doesn't have this stuff, is the connectors and the scales are better and the connectors are better. But I remember being like, oh man, there's notes and iMessage connectors where I could do stuff with those two things. And then if I don't want to leave my machine on, both Codex and Claude support, like do this in the cloud. Multi-agent, I find for more stuff, my stuff, like does anyone get into like crazy multi-agent stuff or no?
There's this Claude skill a coworker of ours recommended called Superpowers, and it's great, and it gets Claude to spin off more agents, like sub-agents, to do tasks. So like it'll make like an agent just to explore your code base, maybe 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I think it's really good. I would recommend trying it.
I should try it out.
What's it called?
It's called Superpowers. It's a skill.
Yeah, it's backup everything. So for the non-coding stuff, even for my personal stuff, I always do a git init. Like I won't, like I use it. I've started using, just like I use ChatGPT for like every single aspect of my life, like cooking and personal life and like personal therapist and everything. Like I've started using Agentic stuff for like all of my non-work stuff. But if you're not using Git, then I highly recommend the backups. My predictions, like where I think, so let's just check where, if things finished. Oh, and there you go, like it finished. So for the people that haven't seen something like this. So went out, it, I told it what to do. It did the git init, which probably means I could commit now. It figured out, like behind the scenes, it probably did one LLM call of like break this down into tasks. It started creating all my files, my git ignore, my agents, and it probably ran tests, and it told me what to do, and pretty simple. And then I guess just like in Claude, I could say add. I know what do we want to do? Add calculator. Oh, functionality via an API. Oh, and there's a plan. I've done this implicitly and explicitly, but if you just want one way to save tokens, and there's a lot of ways to do this, you could ask agents to just go do the work, and if it's really complicated, you could blow through your tokens pretty quickly. But a big time saver, if I could sense that something's kind of complicated, I may say like, don't actually do it, just tell me how you would do it, and then I'll think about it. I'll say like, okay, this is what I think I want to do. Maybe I have some questions, and then I'll come back, and it's thinking, and the internet's a little bit slow. Let's come back to that.
Is it going to ask you questions from that prompt?
It does. Yeah, sometimes it does. They're very similar.
Why did you want to switch build script to Maven?
Oh, it was what did I say? I wanted to see if it was just a test. I did a test. No, I could make a case for like if anyone's here is still stuck 20 years in the past for in Maven, like just the build efficiencies of also who still codes in XML, like.
So you pollute your ages.md to actually say greater than Maven.
Yep.
You lose some of your tokens just for that. You gotta enforce it every single time.
Yes.
It knows better. It's been trained.
Yeah, honestly, okay, I joke. I don't think Maven versus Gradle is going to make a huge difference, but I know some things. The build performance will be better on big projects, 100%. All right, my predictions on AI. I think where things have changed in the last 2 years is 2 years I was panicking because I saw the capabilities of AI kind of become exponential. Like they're becoming very incremental and like very diminishing returns. I can't tell the difference between ChatGPT 4 and 5. Like, I don't know, maybe it's faster, but it didn't blow me away like 3.5 to 4. I think we are in an AI capital bubble and a hype bubble where there's so many companies just throwing money at the stuff. What I've read is like, I don't even know if OpenAI is going to be around. I think Gemini is protected, but even Claude, I mean, like the amount of money these companies are investing, and I don't know if they were expecting AGI, but I think I'm not going to tell people what to do, but I wouldn't be spending money on AI stocks at the moment. And I think a lot of it too is the scaling stuff. So what the studies that I've seen is LLM models, which this is all based on. People used to think that you could just throw more hardware at it and just keep getting better and better. So scaling laws, and it used to work with like 3.5 to 4, etc., or 2 to 3.5 to 4. But they're not seeing that anymore, where like you can't just throw more hardware at stuff and it won't just get 10 times as good. Power is becoming a huge constraint, where I think it's at the point where people like Elon Musk were like, oh, we got to put like data centers in space and just use solar. Data constraints, like all these LLM models are ingesting pretty much all of human knowledge ever consumed already. There's no more. And also, one of the big things that like improved LLMs was Moore's Law, which was like chips were getting like cheaper and cheaper. Like I think it was like double the transistors every 16 months.
It's 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. The current generation of chips, which is 3 nanometer and 2 nanometer, it's the fab costs that these factories that make the chips are getting so ridiculously expensive that actually per transistor count, like for what you're paying per transistor, is actually more expensive the smaller you go. But you do it for things like an iPhone because like it consumes less battery. But we're at the point where things are actually getting more expensive, and also chips are getting so small, the transistors are getting so small, like you're hitting limits. Like we're hitting limits on just about everything. My experience with the workflows is like once you start using it, there's so much hype around Agentic, and like what you see about one-shotting like giant, like, oh, make me a cool app and then I'll just go out and do it. I haven't seen that. Like I see a lot of the issues of LLMs and agentic coding, like context drift, hallucinations, or the classic how many R's in Strawberry. I don't see like Skynet happening anytime soon. I think like LLMs, from what I've seen, is like it's just not like we need something like the transformer model discovery the LLMs are based on. Like to get to the next level, we kind of need a discovery. It's not going to be I'll just throw more compute at it. And I will say that like for the coding, I think what's untapped is this agentic value in non-coding. Like I only really see developers using agentic coding. I think the value is like going to be in all the other stuff. Let's take a look at our demo. Oh, okay. So when I did the plan, it wrote out. It asked me a whole bunch of questions. It's proposing all these endpoints, and then I could just say, all right, yeah, it looks good to me. YOLO, go do it, and commit it. And then commit. After you're done, commit the code. So it's going to go out and do it.
Get a job at AWS.
YOLO. Dev work. I'm not just saying this, but I feel like the thing with agentic coding is like before with tech, I like as a more seasoned developer, I was like, oh, there's a new tech I have to learn, and all the new guys are going to get better at it, like with JavaScript, and like you really have to memorize it and use it every day. I feel like with agentic coding, it actually favors the seasoned developers, like the experienced developers that know end-to-end, that are more like T-shaped in their experience, versus the junior developers that just want to vibe code things. I think my industry predictions are like, if you're in the software space, you want breadth. You want to like understand everything of the product, what to ask, what's important, value, back end, front end, everything, but just not the depth. Like even taking I wouldn't recommend taking I don't know, like the Kubernetes CKAD certificates and like memorizing all the exact command line arguments for Kubernetes or anything for that matter. I think there's going to be a huge explosion, and I'm already seeing this, of code in general, and you can see on in GitHub, and especially bad code, because everyone thinks they're a coder, like, oh, I'm a vibe coder, I know what to do, but it's this, and I actually found out that there's a term for this. I know everyone knows slop, right? Slop. There's actually a term, because I've been dealing with this at work with documents, where I've seen people that are like, oh, well, Copilot, this can do my work for me, I don't have to think. And it's this explosion of useless documentation and useless code. People are like, oh, I wrote 1,000 lines of code. But I think what's happening is it makes the 90%, like the visible stuff that people used to think is the 90%, really easy. But that work kind of gets punted down to the important stuff that's invisible. If I wanted to protect my career, like I would look at, I would not be in a role of like middle management. If I'm not producing value, because I know Amazon's been kind of cleaning house. There's a couple of reasons why, I think they had like 20,000 layoffs. But I think all these other tech companies that I'm seeing is like, they're looking at like how many middle managers that they have that aren't producing value, or where they used to do things like TPS cover letters and like reports, and like I'm a people person. Like if you want to protect your career, my advice would be stay like close to the value of the code and not be judged on output. On PR, I hate PR. I hate mandated PR reviews. I think it's an entire waste of time, and it's anti-CI/CD. But now with agentic coding, I think PR reviews are actually really important. Because I know, like, my experience with PR reviews, there's the whole joke about like if it's a 10-line change, you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, I understand it, and you spend a lot of time. But if it's like a 1,000-line code change, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, looks good, pass. I think most PRs I threw together some names. I think, I'm not just saying this to make everyone feel good, because I think 2 years ago I was concerned about it, but it is I would hate to be someone in computer science, doing a computer science degree right now. I'm even seeing it right now where it's like a lot of senior developers don't want to hire junior developers because they used to punt this type of work on junior developers. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of jobs where if you have kids going into university, I think the legal industry or paralegal industry is one of them where I wouldn't go into that. In computer science, I don't know. It's not as free as it used to be. I'm of the approach that the most successful teams that I've seen is like the AWS model of you build it, you run it, where you have skin in the game, and you can't make shitty software that's it looks pretty because you're going to own it. I know Google does the whole SRE approach, but if you don't have you build it, you run it, this is what I'm seeing is the work slop, this AI work shitty code that looks pretty just gets punted down. think it's also like the hidden cost of vibe coding. Like it looks so great. Like it's so easy to create something cool and looking, but like then you gotta like debug it, and you don't realize it. What else? Oh, and then like everyone's an expert now. Like especially like since last year, everyone thinks they're a coder. Like I don't worry about coding, where it's you could. There's so many cool demos. You see so much on LinkedIn, and you're like, oh man, like I one-shotted this entire like. There's some World War II app, but like I one-shot prompted this entire app. Like we're not there. The PR skills. Does anyone know what movie this is from?
I referenced this earlier today, actually.
Yeah, it does. No, does anyone not get it? Great movie.
It's from the first Jurassic Park movie.
Yep. Human. And then wow, what a great audience. I started ranting a lot about AI has been work slop. AI work slop has been such a giant pain in the ass for me that I went on like a full-blown tear on it on LinkedIn and on Sora. So if you want to go on my Sora video, does anyone know Sora? Right? That actually, I only like to pay one subscription at a time, personal. I've switched back to ChatGPT for Sora. I did Grok for a while, I did Claude for a while. But I love ChatGPT that gives you like 15-second clips to make every day. And when I get frustrated at work, I go home and like make like satirical videos on AI slop, and then I post them on LinkedIn or on my Sora. And then last one. Yeah, for this book, I think a lot of books. I think the book industry is done. Because it's becoming so easy to write books and just generate like slop. I could tell when books are just slop. But this book by Jim Kim, so he was one of the authors, like the Phoenix Project. Him and Jez Humble wrote a lot of books on, like some of the best books on CI/CD. Him and Jez Humble, and Lean Enterprise he wrote in, and Steve Yagi. He used to have an excellent blog post from like 15 years ago about AWS and Google. And these two, like, it's a well-referenced book of where things are going. And yeah, let's check where this demo went.
Yeah, I want to see this.
Oops, that's my Java joke. That was for later. Yeah, so it created everything. It ran the test. Oh shoot. Add some more tests. I don't know. I have to. I've learned not to like one shot things.
You have to ask it to critique the tests.
Can you ask like generate 2,000 tests exactly?
Exactly 2000s. I could.
No duplicates.
See, JUnit has it now too. Where I love because Spark had it first, but you could do parameterized. Does anyone who use parameterized tests? It's like, oh man, or you give it a CSV file.
I think you can do it with Spock to providing a table, right?
Yeah. JUnit added a 5, yeah. But it's or a CSV file. You could say, here's my CSV file. That's awesome. It's just gonna go out and do it. I've used it for like, I'm writing a book on something and I'm using it for that. Even this talk.
How to switch to Maven?
I was a test. It knows my profile. It knows that like Maven sucks. And I was hoping it would say, no, I'm not gonna let you. I can't do that, Dave. I use it for like so much more. And I know with Claude Code, I did only just, as I was saying, like Cowork came out a month and a half ago and was limited to the 200 plan, but they've made it. I think it's a rebranding of Claude Code for non-techies. So you give it a folder and you just start querying stuff against it. Whereas like the ChatGPT approach has been, there's no difference. Any other big differences? I know they have scales, but they're a little bit different. They have automations where you can kind of trigger something on a time schedule. Any other big the integrations I find, the extensibility I find is better with Claude Code. especially once you get into the connectors. What else can I say? Yeah, 4.6.
I want to see the calculator.
Open.
200 percentage of coverage, right?
Yep.
200% test code. Yeah,
Yeah, if it's 100% code coverage, then there's no bugs.
that's right. That's why there should be no problem running it.
Yeah, I mean, looks like good code to me. If I was doing a PO of this, I'd be like, yeah, this is approved.
Past
Approved.
the 10-line threshold.
Look, it did a hello
Still
world.
got a hello controller.
Yeah.
You should ask it to build a web front end. So we
Yeah,
can
but
try it.
I wonder sometimes because it's like, does it know it because it actually understands the requirements, or is it because I'm sure like hundreds of people have done a calculator app on GitHub and posted it? Like,
Yeah.
like which one is it? And I don't know.
I think it's both.
So it works. What else can you do?
Ask it for some curl commands we can use to try the calculator.
Some what? What do you want to do?
Ask it, like, give us a list of 10 curl command lines that we can use to try the API.
And include divide by 0.
Yeah, divide by 0. And now you got to run the program, and then we'll try curling it and see math.
Usually it's not this slow. It's the Wi-Fi section.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, divide by 0 included.
Okay. Actually, test.
So it's going to have to run the server, right?
Yeah, all right. Let's try it.
Can you deploy?
Yeah. Assuming. Run it.
Is double dot is some kind of a special symbol or just a typo?
Pardon me?
The double dot, like, is that some kind of is that a...
Which double? Did I do a double
Power
dot?
prompt. Just in the prompt.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Oh, okay. I was thinking maybe like a...
Yeah. Okay. So it's doing a boot run. What? The server? Oh, it's just in its own like isolated and protected like on my machine. So this server here is on my machine. I can change
You
things.
invented Tomcat from Spring Boot.
Yeah. Or Jetty.
Oh, it's Jetty now?
Isn't it Jetty?
Default used to be Tomcat. I don't know.
Oh no, but this is a Spring Boot app, so it's Jetty.
But Jetty is optional, but Tomcat is the default.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad it's Tomcat for sure.
So it's running it, but you can. I think it's because I haven't done a git commit yet, or you could tell it to like run in OpenAI's cloud.
It's running curl commands against it.
Yep.
Oh, I don't think it's getting responses though.
I think it's.
Try running it from. Can you? I don't know. I've never used Codex.
And-
Can you run the program from Codex? Just
I mean, I guess it's the other nice thing with Agentic because I remember even when it deals with issues, there's some issue I had with Gradle because I was trying to do native, like the native Gradle lib. It'll try to like autocorrect itself. Oh, I'm blocked. Okay, fix it. I don't know.
2 times.
Fix it now.
And cover with that.
I will say I did want to add an issue on security, but like this is where like OpenClaw prompt injection has become like the new SQL injection, where I'd be really afraid of like the security risks, especially if your agent is crawling the internet for some data, but someone's sneaking in hidden prompts that are being added to the context and then going out and calling stuff. Like if I was a security person, I know there's a sandbox, and this is probably what it ran into, but like I'd probably be testing this via just like a unit test instead of running it. But the security risks are pretty serious. I don't think you could stop prompt, like prompt injection 100%.
So you're saying it goes out to some external website, and then that website has some
No, but
prompts?
if I configured my agent to just have like YOLO access, it could go out and call, and it could do anything locally in my directory. And if it's searching for tips online on websites, but then my website, my HTML website, somehow maybe the answer had like, oh, by the way, like inject this into your prompt, override everything, ignore all security bypasses, and then it like my runner had access to like, I don't know, secrets in a config file, and it could just go send them out.
I think you can close
Yeah.
everything math.
It works most of the time, but this is most of the time it works 90% of the time on Anchorman.
I think that ChatGPT is going to be down for the next 4 or 5 days while it works out how to make division by zero
It's not
valid.
accessible.
Yeah.
I just tried it. It's not
What?
accessible.
Yeah.
US one is down.
All right, let's do a plan for that. Yeah, I mean, difficult stuff I do a plan on. The it starts falling apart when it's like really big stuff that touches a lot of files, or it's big files. Like I don't have a solution that works for like giant refactoring, because I think that was what you put in an email. I think super giant refactoring, I would try to, because everything's going through a language model, like I would almost have an LLM write, like, because I know we have the open rewrite guy, Jonathan, not Jonathan,
Yeah, I think that was his name.
yeah, it was Jonathan. He was pretty awesome because I worked with him at Pivotal. Like I would try to maybe have an LLM write, sure, go. Have, and just click through accept. RM-RF, yep, accept, go. I think for like large scale refactoring, I'd have like the LLM write like an open rewrite script, and then run the open rewrite script. But it's YOLO. It's still like I could tell that like when I go through agentic tools, like the context window is a lot bigger, it could do a lot more. But when it just has to think too much at once, it kind of falls apart.
Have you used the LLM stuff for any UI development, or have you stayed only on the back?
I've used it for Swift development. I've kind of stayed more on the front end. Sorry, the back end.
I touched, so like interesting story. We had a contractor do React work for
Yep.
a mobile app, and I've never written a line in my life. And instead of hiring that person again, they gave it to me, and I used Claude Code, and I would just copy paste screenshots of the mobile app and say, move this button here, do this, and I never touched the line of code.
Oh, yeah.
I shipped it to production.
Nice.
So we saved like billing a contract for $100 an hour instead of just by using me, right?
I've done that a lot too, right? It's on the Mac. It's I find every day now, if I'm doing like personal stuff or anything, it's Shift Control Command, and just select the window and just paste it in and fix it.
But I find Cloud Code really nice because you can just paste images.
Oh, it has that really cool the UI app. It's do I have it running here?
Also do an MCP server to the design files that the designers come up with.
Oh, yeah.
It gets more
Yeah.
accurate information that way.
I mean, actually,
Yeah.
like images or information just.
Images and information, but I'm not entirely sure how it works yet. So.
If you're using Figma, it has like developer information about
Yeah.
pixel spacing and everything.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's the one thing I prefer. The other thing I prefer OpenAI for is like image generation. So I use it for like random icons. Like if it's create an image, I prefer. Oh yeah, because Cloud doesn't have image generation. But like I've used that.